was the first person who just goes, that baby boy who's just been born,
Yeah.
I'm going to cut the end of his cock off? I don't think that is the motivation. When somebody has a kid and you just go, it's a boy, right, I think we're going to get him circumcised. Why? Because if he wants to be a porn star, his cock will look better. I love the idea of you getting sent down to prison and you go walking in and going to the hardest man who's like, I don't suppose you've seen me on TikTok, have you? Will you look after me?
That's the first thing I would do.
The next actor to play James Bond should be a white heterosexual male. People were kicking off about, like, Doctor Who
Yeah.
becoming a black guy.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a fucking shape-shifting alien, right?
Great point. Can I ask you a question before you just finish?
Yes.
Are we going to get cancelled because of this?
No.
Are we going to get hate?
No. Well,
Is anyone going to disagree with this?
well, yeah. Of course they are. Baz, I knew this would happen. We got to the end of the Drunkenly controversial podcast, and I'm almost incapable of saying the name of the
Thank
podcast.
fuck for that. I'm really pleased about that. Where are we going with the next bit? Because I think we've rolled along quite nicely. Are you going to take it up a notch or down a notch?
I think I'm going to take it up a notch, Baz.
Good. I like this.
Yeah. I think that circumcision is child abuse.
Oh, okay.
And
This is a scary one, by the way.
no, I know that, I mean, a lot of our listeners are in America,
Yeah.
and the majority of males in America are circumcised.
Okay, yeah.
There are a lot of religions who insist on circumcising male children.
Yeah.
I
feel...
And I just think there is rightly an outrage at FGM, like female genital mutilation, which
okay,
happens in predominantly in Africa,
Yeah.
And things like that. There is, quite rightly, an outrage about that, but I don't understand why. I mean, to lighten it a little bit, just for a moment, I was like, who was the first person who just goes, that baby boy who's just been born,
Yeah.
I'm going to cut the end of his cock off? Often, if you say to somebody that, not that I ever have said to somebody like circumcision just shouldn't be a thing.
Yeah.
Right?
It's still a thing. I'm in the dark about this. So is it still a thing, like predominantly like it has been for generations?
There are certain religions, obviously.
Yeah.
The vast majority of American kids, American boy children, are circumcised.
So
The vast majority. We're talking 75 to 90% of American males are circumcised.
So I'm dead stupid. This I literally know nothing about circumcision other than what it is. So at what age, like, are you supposed to get it done?
No, it's literally fucking like it's when they're very, very young.
Yeah, I mean, like, so here's my sort of like glib remark on that. Like, I get it. That, like, if you're a porn star, it looks more impressive. You know,
Does it?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Okay.
Mate, I watch a lot of porn. I'm not gonna lie. and like you can always spot the one with the big hood and the one without. And obviously, the big gleaming one looks more impressive because there's less kind of flappiness about it.
I don't think that is the motivation. When somebody has a kid and you just go, it's a boy, right? I think we're going to get him circumcised. Why? Because if he wants to be a porn star, his cock will look better.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think that's the reason.
Fortunately, I started this bit with saying I know nothing about it, and I'm going out of it knowing nothing about it. So yeah, I've heard arguments for it being more clean.
I've got stuff on that, right? I've done some research.
Yeah,
so if the police are watching,
there's no police watching this.
If the police watching and they see my internet search history, I just want to. Hopefully, this will explain
Research, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Research. So, circumcision does slightly lower the risk of urinary tract infection in male newborns.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. but UTIs affect less than 1% of uncircumcised infants.
Okay, yeah.
So to stop less than 1% of kids getting something, we're going to cut the top of his cock off.
Yeah, okay. yeah.
Don't get it, right?
Yeah.
But also, it's like males without foreskin do appear less likely to get penile cancer.
Okay, yeah, okay.
So it's like, okay, get that. I'm all for that, right?
Yeah.
Anything that reduces the risk of cancer, got it. But that affects 1 in 100,000 men. And to put that in context, women are 100 times more likely to get breast cancer.
Oh, okay.
Than males are to get penile cancer. But we're gonna whip the tip off it to stop that happening.
To stop it happening, yeah.
So what you're saying is that we're gonna cut the top of the cock off all these babies, to stop 1 in 100,000 possibly getting something.
That's a
It
lot.
just doesn't seem that.
That seems like a lot of over chancing, doesn't it?
It feels like taking a sledgehammer to crack a nut, doesn't it?
Quite literally.
Well, not the nuts. It's not that bit.
It's close enough.
It is close. It's like you've got look. If you get the nut, if you got a circumcised kid and you get the nut, you shouldn't have that job. That's not yours. I do have, just again to lighten it. I used to have a job circumcising kids. And the wages weren't great, but I did get to keep the tips. Anyway, I can't believe you just said that. I think we should move on.
Yeah.
Anyway, going back to the point of like, it stops urinary tract infections.
Yeah.
So apparently, for every 6 urinary tract infections that are prevented through circumcision, at least one infant is likely to suffer a complication from surgery, such as hemorrhage.
Yeah, that's not a good thing, right?
It's not, is it? It's like, so we're going to stop this urinary tract.
Possible.
We're going to potentially stop this thing happening in 1% of people.
Yeah.
And we're going to do this procedure, this quite barbaric procedure on a young male baby, to stop 1% of people getting something that isn't even that bad.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, but by the way, of those 1%, 1 in 6 will be in all kinds of trouble and will get complications. So yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. There is, and quite rightly, a international outrage that in certain countries, young females have their bodies mutilated, FGM, but it seems like it's okay if it's a boy.
Yeah. MGM, we're calling it, aren't we? Like that film company.
I think the film studios might object to us referring to it as that bad.
Well, it works though.
It does work. It works a little bit too, and it works a little bit too well, and I think that's why they might object to it.
Mate, if they try and cancel us, that'd be great news for us, the podcast.
Imagine that. It's just like, circumcision
We're
is
not MGM for that reason.
Circumcision is MGM.
That's the most I've ever spoken about circumcision in my life. I knew very little about it. I knew what the procedure was, and my understanding is it was mostly religious or cleanliness. You've opened my eyes up.
But I say cleanliness is the reason, because religion is a massive one. So there are religions that it is a religious thing. But again, religion and fucking tradition are not reasons why. The cleanliness is even worse.
Yeah.
Because apparently it's common in the States because of cleanliness.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know about the state of your penis, Baz, whether you're intact or not. But I'm going to say it right here, right now. I'm intact, and I've never had an infection, and I've never had any problems keeping it clean.
There you go.
So, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm an uncut gem as well. So
there you go, mate. And have you ever had any infections down there because you are uncut, or have you ever had any issues and problems trying to clean and keep it all hygienic.
I'd rather not say. Can we move on?
Baz's cock's rotten. Anyway, Baz, on to the next one.
So I wanted to talk about something which I've spoken about for years. So I've always said I'm not a believer in the death sentence because in many countries it doesn't actually decrease the crimes in which it's the preferred sentence.
Yeah.
But I also get how people are passionate about the fact that people... And let's talk about one subject because there's many others. But let's talk about murder, which the death sentence is quite often offered up in countries.
Yes.
I don't know why this. I never really spoke about it, but I was thinking recently about a better way of sorting that out. And I came across this, and like some people might think this is barbaric, but it's not the ultimate, which is... Because I think, even like murder, like... The death sentence is like state-sanctioned murder, and all murder is wrong. So I thought of this, and it's kind of weird, because I don't know why I thought about it, because I never thought about it before, but like, I think there should be different styles of sentence for people that commit those crimes which are currently thought of as, or are death sentence crimes, like murder, and like, I don't want to even mention the other stuff that's involved. So let's stick with murder. I think that like prisons for those people are too soft. So I think, and it happened upon this. I was thinking, like, imagine if, like, you commit that sentence, and then so you had to go to prison, but like you didn't have all the current things that prisoners have, which is like TVs, books, and some outside influences, and and probably access,
free rent, free food.
No, aside from that, so you imagine this, and this is, and I think it's more important for people like you and I that like probably couldn't do a day in prison anyway for even the most menial crime. So you get locked away, and you ostensibly have solitary confinement forever. People bring you food, which is fine. You have to keep you alive, which is the nice part of it. But no one talks to you, and so if you're lucky, you'll get like housed with another murderer, and you share a cell. You are allowed to exercise, but you don't get to talk to anyone, and nobody talks to you forever. And the best thing would be that. Well, no, that's what I'm saying. You can imagine, couldn't you? Because you and I think, are both people that like are probably now our relative ages are a bit more comfortable with our own beings. But in my 20s, if no one ever spoke to me again, I'd be fucking mortified. Yeah. So my idea would be that like you, and particularly the worst people, you get a cell on your own. People bring you food, but they don't talk to you. If you talk to them, they don't talk back to you, and then you're locked in all day. You're ushered out to a yard through another door, and you get to shuffle in a circle for 20 minutes a day because that's kind. And then, but the caveat of this is that at some point you get to request, I've had enough of this. If I go in and press a button and put a thing in my arm, I can unalive myself. Current term there. No, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think this would be sort of more justification. No one else would have to put you down, which is also a really weird term.
Well, it is when you refer to humans.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just that. Usually, that's for animals.
But you know what I mean? It's good, and this would be my justification that you'd ask for your own. Like, I want to. All right, I've had enough now.
Yeah.
Can I go and press a button and I end it? And you'd go, yeah, that's fine. So that kind of appeases the people that think that people should be put to death if they've murdered people. But also, there's been a lot of uncomfortableness before that, and that's a really weird term.
Yeah.
I got that completely wrong. So this is
not even sure it's a word.
So I don't know why I've currently been thinking of this because, like, you quite often see in social media people go, "Oh, they should be hung up by their balls," or "You kill them," and I'm like, it's only a personal thing. I don't, I'll never push this on anybody else. I don't like. I'm uncomfortable with the death sentence because there's also that thing where it's been proven that people have been killed, and then later on found, oh no, he didn't do it.
It wasn't them.
So two things. It gives people time to do a thing, but also, I think for those crimes, prison isn't harsh enough for those people. It kind of fits that mid-level thing where
And I'd like to take it one step further. Like, I'm not even sure I believe this, but I just want to run with it.
Is it podcast worthy?
Yeah, yeah. But I just want to. I'm not even sure I believe this, but I want to run with it anyway. But when you were saying that they don't talk to, you're basically playing fucking mind games with these people.
Yeah,
it's like which I get it. That's a punishment, and that punishment is better than being executed. And then I like the idea of like they've got an option to go, that's me, I'm done.
Yeah.
But if you want to fuck with their minds a little bit more, you've got this thing of like, I'm done. And it's just like, you could make that thing not work.
Yeah.
It's like, right, I'm done. I'm out of here. It's like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
You go out on our terms.
Yeah. You pressed the button, it didn't work. You got another 6 months for you have another go. You cunt. The next one might work, but it might not work.
Properly fuck with this.
Yeah. Well, and it's like, for me, it just got me to thinking. It appeases me in terms of like not actually going like his thing. We're going to stick a thing in you, or someone's going to shoot you or electrify you. But because like I know that the what do they call it with the injection? Lethal injection.
Yeah.
That was, and I get all that, but someone else has to press the button. If you say, look, I'm putting it on you now, we'll offer you this thing, but you get to have the choice. And some people will be more resilient, so they might go for years of not doing it. Where other people are like, I've had enough of this after 6 weeks. Me, I'll be like, no, I'm done being. My own head is a harsh sentence than the thing I've done.
But I like that. That's quite. I mean, it doesn't sound like it, but it's quite a compassionate thing that you're saying. Is because what you're suggesting is that. If you were saying if the death penalty didn't exist and you were just saying, I've come up with this.
Yeah.
This is a punishment for murderers or whatever. Like, fucking you're torturing the minds. Then you're going, and in the end you're going, well, the only way out of this is death.
Yeah.
But if you're saying that is the alternative to just death, it's like, well, I mean, it's not that bad.
But I thought about like, so if I went to prison, it would even if in what's conceived as the modern prison system, where you do get access to PlayStations, televisions, social interaction with other people, that would still be too much for me. Hence the reason why I don't commit crimes and I don't go to prison. No, because
it's almost like prison's a deterrent for
but it isn't
crimes.
for some people, because as you said, some people they end up with a roof over their head, 3 square meals a day, exercise, and lots of free time. Unfortunately, they can't make TikTok accounts because and they get famous. But you know what I'm saying? It's like for you and I, the reason we're not criminals is because the deterrent on the levels that we commit crimes would be far greater than we'd be willing to put up with.
I'd last approximately 45 seconds in prison, Baz. I'd either be beaten up, raped, or fucking hang myself.
Yeah.
That'd be it.
I'm
pretty sure that's not going to make it through. But it's a conversation.
Yeah, I'd be affiliated with a gang to keep me safe. And people think in British terms, hard. I'm not. I'd be like, no.
Do you know what? I love the idea of you getting sent down to prison and you go walking in and going to the hardest man who's like, I don't suppose you've seen me on TikTok, have you? Will you look after me?
That's the first thing I would do. And let's just sort of veer off slightly to kind of like the tropes of alpha maleism, for want of a better term. So many people are like, yeah, I'd be fucking all right in prison. I'd go in there. I'd survive. I wouldn't. I'd fold like a fucking cheap deck of cards.
Mate, I'd last in prison. I would last less time than those when you're watching YouTube and it's like skip ad. I would last less time than it takes to be able to click the button that says skip ad.
Yeah, but I think you'd last longer than me because, like, I think your Manchester accent would sound like more aggressive than my faux Cockney accent. I'd have to put on. All right, mate, I'm fucking hard. I am. You
no, you're not.
Even with your sort of slightly.
But to be fair, you were a bouncer, so you are actually hard.
No. But the point is, no. That's bullshit. The point is, you could protect people without actually being hard. You could protect people by just being bigger and more, and more present. Whereas I think that accents make a massive difference. Because, this is obviously film tropes. The guys in New Yorkers that they go to prison, they're like fucking hard ass, or Latinos, for want of a better thing. Like, I'd go there and go, oh, please don't hurt me. I'm from the home counties.
No, mate, you used to be a bouncer. You can handle yourself.
But I think you'd go in there and speak like with your
you can handle yourself. I've never been in a fight in my life.
Yeah, but right? I think you'd be all right with your accent. I think your accent would carry you a little bit.
Do you think that?
Yeah, because I generally think people in the South think people with northern accents are a little bit harder than they are.
But I'll tell you what though, if you went to prison, from what I've heard of you speaking now, right? You went into prison, muscles, tattoos, they would expect a lot more of you than they're going to get.
Yeah, it's either that or I'd end up with someone's bunk buddy.
Okay.
That's so ominous.
No, it's not. It's not. Look, it's not. Do you know what? The next actor to play James Bond should be a white heterosexual male. There's been loads of shit about, who's going to be the next James Bond and all that. And there's been like, isn't it time it was a woman, or isn't it time it was like a gay man, or isn't it time it's a black man? No, the character was written as a white heterosexual womanizing. Fucking God forbid.
Although in the 60s, right?
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And it was all this. It was written as a white heterosexual male.
Yeah, James Bond.
So why would you have to change that? Because, I mean, if you want to come up with another spy that is...
Even a 007.
Yes. Exactly. Or like in the same department or whatever, you know what I mean? MI5... Do it. But James Bond, it literally says in the books that were written that it's not like, when people were kicking off about like Doctor Who becoming a black guy. It's like, it's a fucking shape-shifting alien, right?
Great point.
The fucking hell? I have no problem, with a shape-shifting alien being represented as a woman that people kicked off about or a black guy. I don't
or a
have
black woman.
I don't have a problem with that. You know what I mean? It could be a fucking chair. It's a shape-shifting alien.
Yeah.
Right?
Dogs are next, by the way.
Yeah. But I don't get it. And it's the same as like the people who kicked off about Ariel being Little Mermaid, Ariel being played by a black woman. Right?
Yeah.
I'm just like, fucking calm down, right? Ariel doesn't exist.
Yes.
Fucking mermaids don't exist.
Thank you for that. But that was the bit I was going to add.
It's a fucking mermaid. Why are you losing your shit about the colour of a skin of a mermaid? Just chill the fuck out.
Yeah, even if they did, they'd probably be fish coloured, right? The slimy fish coloured.
Like a rainbow trout.
Yeah, exactly.
Face. But I just... see those, I don't have a problem with that, right? Yeah. But the whole thing of like, James Bond could be... No. Yeah. The character is a white, heterosexual male. So don't fucking... There's no need to fuck about with it.
Well, particularly the time when he was first written in the 60s, if they'd written James Bond as a black man, he wouldn't have been able to get into some of the places... Because it was a different time.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be able to go to Casino Royale because they'd have gone, there'd be loads of racist people on the door going, excuse me, don't let black people in here.
Yeah.
So, But also, my biggest thing about the avocation of what you're saying is Jack Reacher. So Jack Reacher is a character in a book that Lee Charles wrote. The character is 6'7". A lot of the situations you get into is because he's a 6'7" male. In the first iterations of the films, Tom Cruise, who's as tall as I am, played the character. It's not the same thing.
Not very tall.
Yeah. I'm a foot shorter than Jack Reacher. I don't. I could get as jacked as I wanted, but I'm not going to have the same presence.
No.
And also, James Bond was born of Scottish parents, and part of that of him being who he was part of his growing up. He was like a psychopath at the end of the day, who just happened to get this great job, like shagging women and for the Secret Service and get paid for it. But I love it. I love the fact you've started with him and then gone to Ariel, because Ariel was like the biggest contestation.
It was just ridiculous, and it's just and you know what? There's an extension of what I'm saying as well, in that this whole thing about recently that you can't. Like people, if there's a character with autism, they're saying like, it's got to be played by an autistic actor, Or if there's a character with something else, I'm just like, it just doesn't make any sense. It was like Daniel Day-Lewis and My Left Foot. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that'd be funny, but an actor's job is
to act,
to portray. somebody who isn't what they are.
Yes.
That's their fucking job.
So I do agree with you. Like there are very few people that could have played Daniel Day-Lewis's character in My Left Foot because he's a fucking great actor. He sold it because he's a great actor.
Yeah.
I want to speak up for Joe Gilgan, who's I think we're both firm favourites of him. He played a character who had bipolar.
Yep.
He just happens to have bipolar.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that was my only iteration. Yeah, I'll jump into that, yeah.
But an extension of what you just said there is that there are loads of people who... I'm laughing because it is fucking laughable, right?
Yeah.
There are loads of people that kicked off that Stephen Hawkins wasn't played in the film. The character of Stephen Hawkins wasn't played in the film by somebody who had severe disabilities like Stephen Hawkins did.
Yeah.
But they forget that at the start he was able-bodied.
Yes.
And it was just like, so, you've got an option here, right?
Great point,
You're
by the way.
either going to have him being played by an able-bodied actor who then acts as if he's severely disabled.
Yeah.
Or you're going to have to try and convince, somehow, a severely disabled actor to act as an able-bodied person at the start of it. And then that just illustrates how fucking
it does seem easier the first way, doesn't it?
Stupid this whole thing. And if you had this thing of Rain Man wouldn't have existed.
Yeah.
And that's a fucking brilliant film.
Yeah.
It brought attention to that kind of he was autistic.
He was
wasn't
autistic,
he?
yeah.
So that brought autism to millions of people who didn't even know it was a thing.
Yeah.
Right? Because Dustin Hoffman was fucking phenomenal in his role of portraying that.
Yeah.
Another example from a UK point of view is Ricky Gervais in Derek.
Yeah. Oh, mate, stand out.
Fucking brilliant.
Stand out.
Absolutely brilliant. If you had somebody who had genuine learning difficulties playing that part, it wouldn't have been played with as much compassion to people who have got learning difficulties as it was.
Yeah.
It was just brilliant. It was beautiful, and it was like the compassion is the phrase I used before. But it was just so compassionate. But also he was able to nuance things that somebody who with learning difficulties might not have been able to do.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you're insisting that actors have to be exactly that, it's like, I get, I'm not saying that, I'm not saying that white people should be able to play black characters. I think race is a thing that is like, I get that, right?
Apart from Robert Downey Jr.
No, but there's enough. Look, there are enough actors of all races to not have to say, you don't have to do blackface anymore and all that.
Yeah.
But to suggest that it's like, fucking hell, where do we stop? Do we just say Harrison Ford shouldn't have played Han Solo because he wasn't really a fucking, space traveling bounty hunter.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have to only have space traveling bounty hunters to play space traveling bounty hunters. Where does it stop?
So two other really good examples are I watch a program which is called The Good Doctor about an autistic doctor.
Yes.
And it's played by Freddie Highmore, who studied autism and has been largely lauded by the autistic community and people surrounded by it, so that he's done a really good job because he's gone to people who have autism and worked with people with autism and said, look, what would happen in this situation? As you said earlier, he's an actor, so he's able to go and say, right, I've learned what would happen in this situation. I'm part of the production team. This is what would happen. I'm representing someone who, in this miraculous case, would be this amazing doctor who sorts things out because he is autistic and sees things in other dimensions and his brain works in a certain way. And the other one was there's a Marvel series that's just aired. It's not particularly great about a deaf superhero called Echo, who's played by somebody who's deaf, which is great.
Yeah,
just happens to be an actress or an actor that is deaf. But she also has one leg, so they had to then add that to the script. So it's kind of the reverse thing. They found an actor who fitted the part, but because she had one leg, they rewrote the script to say she'd lost a leg for a certain reason. So is that bad?
Well, do you know what though? It's like I don't know of this thing.
Yeah,
but like, if you've got a deaf character, does that really need to be played by a deaf actor? Because it's like it makes no difference whatsoever.
Yeah.
To what's going, and that's the thing. It's just look, for fuck's sake, actors portray. It's like you take it to nth degree. You'd be like Marlon Brando shouldn't have played The Godfather because he's not really Italian.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what the fuck do we do here now? Do you know what I mean? And it's like, like
we have got to that stage, haven't we?
What is it? John Travolta shouldn't have played Danny Zuko in Grease because he wasn't really a fucking student at college. At what point? Why? Why is it? Why do you have to have? Because if you only have people exactly the same thing as the character in the story, that's not acting.
Well, do you know
that's just somebody speaking words?
So do you know that there was a bit of controversy about when they did the Harry Potter stage show, which was supposed to be them in later life? Hermione Granger was black in that.
Right.
And people were like, oh my God. A lot of people were saying, well, actually, it doesn't matter. It's fiction.
And also, it probably, I'm pretty sure, unlike James Bond, where it does mention that he's white and heterosexual and male, I'm pretty sure it doesn't mention Hermione Granger's race.
Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of the problem with this, the modern age of actors being picked in roles is that term representation, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like I don't have a problem with like most fiction. And James Bond, let's be clear, is fictional. But like as you said, in the books, which were written long before the films, he is described as da 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 da.
Yeah, and that's the character. The character is described as something.
Could you imagine if the modern version of purple, the colour purple, has just been made, and they just put white actors in there because it doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean?
But it doesn't really work.
Well, no, it doesn't. Yeah, exactly. Because and this is my thing about James Bond is the fact he was written at a time, and I know the modern versions are set in modern times, but James Bond is this suave white, and Jack Reacher is a 6'7", like ex-military policeman. So I think when characters are specifically written, in descripted in those things, that. There should be no problem with saying that because you can write. No, so there are what they call spin-offs now.
Yeah.
For everything.
Yeah.
You can just create a spin-off for the character that you want.
Yeah.
And they're equally as good. They're equally as fantastic at what they do, and they're equally as righteous or benevolent or whatever. You don't need to change the face of those things. So
exactly.
I mean, next week on the podcast, you could be replaced by a black man because like Mike Sneddon doesn't have, that sort of thing. You might well be.
Do you know what? The one of the things I'm fucking fuming about. A lot of people have slagged off J.K. Rowling for her views on trans rights and all that kind of stuff. But I'm more fucking annoyed with her for the fact that in the films, Harry Potter was not played by an actual fucking wizard.
Oh yeah,
it's fucking outrageous.
But you do realise they're hard to find. It's like they hide themselves away. And this whole...
They can make themselves invisible, can't they?
See, you've fallen down...
I've never seen Harry Potter, so I don't really know.
You've fallen down that trap of like wizards wear pointy hats and have wands, don't you?
Well, I just...
And they wear dresses.
Well, I'm pretty sure that Daniel Radcliffe isn't a wizard. That's as far as I'm willing to go on that.
My next one is going to be controversial because of me.
Okay.
So, I've been a smoker.
You fucking hate short people. No?
I do a little bit. No.
I'm just guessing.
No, so as you know, and not many people do on social media, but I have been a smoker for many years. And over the Christmas period, I stopped smoking, but now I'm only smoking a lot less. But... and hear me out on this, I think cigarettes should be made illegal. In the same way that heroin and cocaine and other Class A and Class B narcotics are made illegal. And the reason I say that is because the people that want to partake in those things still do. They have to pay a premium or whatever, but they still do, but not everyone does. The reason you and I probably don't take drugs all day long is because it's illegal. We don't drive and drink and drive because it's illegal, even though you and I probably, and many other people on the planet, think, I'm still capable of driving a car. So I think if you made cigarettes illegal, I would probably still smoke, but I would do it under that guilt factor that I do when I take drugs. And therefore... Yeah. Hi, gang. I'm just saying. So the whole point is, it's like cigarettes kill more people than all the drugs combined, and driving offences and alcohol and all those things. It's a massive killer. And people generally are given advice about stopping smoking because, and the incidence of people dying from cancer is less because people make it fucking illegal. Don't just ban it. Make it illegal. And and this is someone who does actually smoke. Because I would stop if I had to go and make the effort to go and see a man in a darkened fucking room and say, "Can I have 20 fucking Bensons, please?" Rather than going to my supermarket where I buy my groceries and alcohol, which should also be like slightly done. Do you know what I mean? How many lives would be saved if they just... Because people would still die from smoking cigarettes, but there'd be a lot less people. And we heard this earlier, that, the drain on the NHS would probably be less because so many people who smoke and eat too much and can't sit in their own seat on an aeroplane. There'd be less of those people, right? Discuss. I know that you're an advocate for not smoking, by the way. So
I am an advocate. I mean, I'm an ex-smoker. I smoked for, I don't know. I mean, in total, probably 10 years. And weirdly, I have fuck all willpower, but I found giving up smoking really easy. I don't know how or why. But I don't think it should be illegal. But do you know that I think it's very rare that we were talking about politicians being fucking useless before.
Did you say that?
Well, it was close to that. There's something I think is absolute fucking genius, which I think is coming in soon, is that they're gonna increase the age where it is legal to buy cigarettes.
Okay, yeah.
By a year, every year.
It's not going to make any difference to me. I'll be dead before that happens.
I know. So it's on you, Baz. If you want to not die of smoking... If you want to not die of smoking-related illnesses, you need to stop smoking yourself.
If they start at 57, I'll be quids in. I'll be fine. So.
But what I'm saying is that it's actually fucking genius because if they just said smoking's illegal, this is controversial, but that would also cripple the NHS.
Oh, yeah,
because there's so much tax comes through smokers that offsets the treatment that they need and more.
Do you think it's still related to the same thing?
Yeah. So what we've got now is we've got the government are going to increase the age you have to be to smoke by 1 year every year.
So starting at 18.
So there's going to be a cohort of people who will never be able. So Shay at 14 will never be never be allowed to legally smoke.
Yeah, good.
So it's going to increase every single year. So you can't say like you lot, all of a sudden it's illegal, you can't do it. Because that would just drive everything into the black market and so on. But if you increase the age where it's legal to do it every year by 1 year, you have a cohort that have never been legally allowed, and all of a sudden it goes out. And the benefit of that is, right, that every year that the tax earned off smokers reduces. Because you're doing it 1 year at a time, the amount it costs the NHS to treat people with smoking-related illnesses goes down at the same rate.
Good. Okay, I get it.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
So it should go like this, shouldn't it?
I don't know that I don't know that that's how it works, but I can imagine that if you take a year's worth of smokers out, or a year's worth of... if you take a year's worth of tax and a year's worth of smokers out at the same time, you are going to gradually... if it's not a one-to-one relationship,
Yeah.
it is going to be, it's going to help.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're reducing the amount of smokers at the same rate as you're reducing the amount of tax.
Yeah.
So you're reducing the amount of impact on the NHS
Yeah.
of smokers at the same time you're reducing the amount of tax. So I think it's a genuinely don't think I've ever heard anything clever or almost ingenious that politicians have ever come up with. But I think that's close to it, because I just think if you do it a year at a time, like say you are reducing the amount of tax that comes in from smoke. Because if you say, like, we're going to make it illegal, and I don't know how many hundreds of millions, maybe even billions, that the tax on cigarettes brings into the economy.
Yeah, be a lot, wouldn't it?
But if you just went, it's illegal now, you would drop that, and it was like, fucking hell. But you've still got to pay for decades to come the NHS costs of treating all the people who are in with smoking-related illnesses.
Yeah.
So like CPD or COPD or whatever it's called. Like lung diseases, cancers, all that. So, and diabetes. But if you do it a year at a time on both, so you increase the age of that it's legal to buy, and also, but so you're taking a year out of people who smoke and also a year out of the tax at the same time. It might not offset itself completely, but it's close.
Yeah.
I think.
I'm guessing it has to be a worldwide thing as well, wouldn't it? Because otherwise, we'd still get lorry drivers coming back with like 10,000 cigs from Spain selling to us, over here.
Yeah, but I mean that's illegal now.
Yeah,
so,
right.
Do you know what I mean? It's like you just got to tighten the net on
That's
that.
how I buy my fags.
But I mean, look, that's illegal now. You'll never get rid of that.
Yeah.
But you will get the vast majority, because the vast majority of people will no longer be like year by year will no longer be able to. I think it's a really clever thing, and it's not often I say that politicians are clever, but at some point a politician has thought that's the best way to deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like the fact it's illegal, so it's like doing cocaine. You still feel kind of cool doing it.
Yeah, but you'll have people on like street, like you have people approaching you on street corners going, "Do you want some Marlboro?"
You haven't bought drugs for a while, have you?
No, it's
they don't do that. They don't open a coat and go, "You want some of this shit?"
No, but you do still get people coming up asking if you want to buy drugs.
Yeah, not so much. You're from Manchester, so it's quite commonplace there. Not in Bedford. Can I ask you a question before you just finish?
Yes.
Are we going to get cancelled because of this?
No.
Are we going to get hate?
No. Well,
is anyone going to disagree with this?
Well, yeah. Of course they are. But that's okay.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. We've never shied away from the fact that
we fucking have.
We've never shied away from people disagreeing with us, and I say it's okay to disagree with people. We've said this a number of times. It's okay to disagree politically. It's okay to disagree on topical subjects. It's okay to disagree with people. You don't need to fall out with them about it. Look, we've spoken about a lot of things tonight that we wouldn't have spoken about had we not had a few drinks. But I do think that we've also given valid reasons for what we've said.
Yeah.
And, I don't think anything I think, again, this is the second time we've done a drunkenly controversial podcast.
Yeah.
And I think it's the second time we've covered controversial subjects without being actually that controversial.
Yeah.
So it's gonna. I wouldn't want to do it all the time because it makes me nervous.
Yeah.
I get scared.
Yeah.
But I think we've smashed it, and I say that confidently because I'm gonna edit it when I've sobered up. So. Anything I'm nervous about going out won't be out.
I just want to say something to camera. It's like if you've been affected by any of the subjects we've spoken about in this episode, please contact Channel 4 because they have all the things for those things. And also, it is one of those things that I generally feel like you called it the mildly controversial podcast because we could discuss stuff in a mildly controversial way and also be a little bit like we could peel it back a little bit. It's like I spoke about some things tonight which are like quite dear to my heart, but like it's that really weird thing of like you could edit it to make it sound quite frivolous, but I think you might keep some shit in on this one.
I'm going to keep most of it in.
Yeah. Do you feel like you've sort of like cleansed your soul a little bit tonight? I do. I feel like I've said some stuff I would never say usually in our podcast, apart from when I've had a few beers.
We often have a couple of beers when we are doing the podcast. It's kind of part of who we are and what we do.
Yeah.
But we don't often start the podcast having had so many beers before it. And that is the beauty of this one, because we feel like we can speak more freely with the safety net of the fact that I edit it sober after we've done it. So on that bombshell, it's not much of a bombshell, but anyway, listen, thank you so much for watching, for listening. Hope you enjoyed that one. Hope you enjoyed me and him being in the same room.
It's mostly his fault, by the way. So
yeah, it is mostly my fault. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll see. Oh, fucking hell. Baz, I knew this would happen. We got to the end of the Drunkenly controversial podcast, and I'm almost incapable of saying the name of the podcast.
Thank for that. I'm really pleased about that. It'd be pointless doing it otherwise.
Shh.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to concentrate. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to do all the subscribey shit. And we will see you again next time. Goodbye.